welcome back to part 2 of this fascinating chat with two people who were involved in the opening season of Jodie Whittaker's Doctor Who. Sam Oatley starred as the Stenza warrior Tim Shah, and Jamie Childs directed the season opener and several other episodes during the season as well. So picking up on our conversation about the woman who fell to Earth, and carrying on from the first part, you've got a new cast for the start of season 11, Jamie, and that you're also trying to work with and embed quickly into the production process. I suppose the challenge for you was to bring everyone along with you on that sort of journey in the first episode to try and achieve the sort of desired results you were looking for.
Like Sam said, we actually started with the crane stuff. So, it was weird. I mean, like my style of directing is very much hands-on. Like, I like to be literally by the camera. Like, you know, so if I actually direct more shows from a tiny little monitor that's probably 5 inches or 7 inches or something like that. So I hold that in my hand, and then it means I can be by the camera. So the actor's here and I'm here, and it's like that's just the connection that I have to have when I do it. Otherwise, I feel too far away. I feel, you know, I know directors who just direct from a monitor in a seat, and they set that up for me all the time, and I just never use it because for me to stand there, you get a bit lazy, you sit down and the shot's not quite right, and you think, oh god, I'm not going to walk over all of that and tell them to do it differently. You sit down, you start to become lazy. It just happens, and so it was quite difficult. Like the first stuff I did with Jodie, apart from obviously the reveal thing, was like a bit. I mean, I think the second day was the day that she had to do, you know, I'm the doctor. Like, and that was like, she was scared about doing that because that was a big deal for her. And the first day was like some other stuff on the crane, and I was on the ground. We had a camera crane filming that crane, and I was like shouting directions at her, like from miles away, and I'd be like, do it like this, and she's just like, I can't hear you. This is not a good process. We got like fans blowing wind. She can't hear anything. So that doesn't quite answer your question, but you know, I think just being like doing night shoots and stuff as well, like are always quite good anyway because of rapport and stuff. So like to have a lot of actors who, you know, haven't known each other for a very long time, all kind of doing quite crazy stuff at the beginning probably was a good way to do it. I would say actually, just like Sam says, just chuck it in at the deep end. I always have a thing about like performance stuff, and it's like, you know, you can sit and talk about a performance forever and never get anywhere. But if you just go, right, well, you know, if you physically have to do something, then that's just like takes all those problems away, and there's nothing to talk about. Just do the thing, and that's what we did because we started that way. So actually, I think it built, and night shoots, everyone's a bit delirious and stuff anyway. So you have that camaraderie. Everyone's kind of feels like they're on the same team of delirium.
And how did you both get on with Jodie? I mean, obviously it was her first show, but she just seems a really warm character.
Yeah, no, she's. I mean, the thing that's fascinating about that show, I've said this a couple of times actually, having worked on, God knows, you know, I'm fortunate now that I'm like in my 17th year as an actor. Like, I can't believe I'm even saying that. It's crazy, but. So I've worked on an awful lot of, especially seeing as TV and film has been the majority of what I've done, even though I was trained in theatre. I've worked on a lot of shows, a lot of different shows, a lot of different types of shows. And I can actually easily say that the Doctor Who, especially the one that I was on, like in that set, the people, the crew, the cast, everyone, the execs, like Jamie, everybody on it, it's the most welcoming, friendly environment and that I've ever worked in, and it was one of these environments that you just wanted to go to work every day. Like, you just wanted to go to work every day, and you wanted to work for these people, and you wanted to deliver your best. You know, you wanted to deliver your best, and I think that comes from everyone at the top. And then it also obviously stems from the people on set, the people in the positions of what you might deem as power, obviously, on the set. And that is people like Jodie and the guys like, you know, Tosin, Mandip, Brad, and then obviously Jamie as well. So it feeds in from there. They set the tone, because the problem you got is you can go onto lots of sets where you meet lovely people, lovely groups of individuals, but because the people in the power positions, as it were, operate in a certain way or have a certain way about them, it's not necessarily the nicest place to go to work. It's not necessarily the most welcoming. You do go to work and just go, do you know what? Let's just get this done and go home. Like literally, you have that situation. So to go to a job where you actually don't really want to leave is a beautiful feeling. And as I say, it stems from people like Jodie, that's the way that the atmosphere is. And she was a great laugh, and she's always having a laugh, and you know, but got a great work ethic. I don't know how she manages to learn all the stuff that she's got to learn and the dialogue that she's got to talk, and then deal with sort of, you know, going home and, you know, putting a daughter to bed and catching up with a husband and all sorts, and you know, and then being ready the next day to deliver it all again. Like, I literally cannot understand how you can do that, but you know, she was doing it brilliantly, and she was a great person to work with, you know.
Jamie?
Yeah, I couldn't say it any better myself, Matt. Sam, I think that's so true. It's like that it's so much of it stemmed from Jodie as well, and like, you know, the days that obviously she is there most days because she's in most scenes, and especially in that first episode, but the days that she wasn't, like, you noticed the difference on set. You know, it was different atmosphere, not bad by any means, but it was just like a different thing. Like, she just totally elevated the kind of, like, everybody enjoys her company, and she just actually makes it really fun. And the thing is, you know, and directing that episode is stressful. It was like, you know, what was it? I can't remember how many days we had on it, but it was like, it was pretty much a night shoot, the whole thing. And to start a series on a night shoot, you know, you're starting filming at 4:00 in the afternoon, you're finishing at 4:00 in the morning-ish, sort of around about there. And, you know, and it's like, it is really hard work. And a lot of these people have families, but like, everybody was in such good spirits. And it had this kind of like, sort of, I don't know, start-up feel about it as well. You know, it was a new thing. Everything was new. So everyone was excited and like, wow, who knows how this is going to turn out, but let's just do it. You know, almost like making an indie film or something, and just like an old school, like back in the 80s kind of attitude to, like, you know, the American Zoetrope, like George Lucas. So he started out just go and film stuff and like just hope for the best, and everyone's really excited by it. It's not like just doing a job, you know. And she was just, she's great, man, really good fun, and just like such a laugh. And you know, even when it is stressful, like I'm like, my stress doesn't show on my face, like it's internal, if anything, you know, when you're feeling like that and you're on the crane and like, and everything's like going wrong, but you know, she just kept it so light all the time, and you couldn't be stressed around her at all.
And it's a great pairing, actually, putting her and Bradley together to a degree.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that, you know, that was an idea Chris had from a long time ago, and like nobody expected it, and it happened, and it worked really well.
Because there was lots of reaction to that. There was also lots of expectation, but it didn't deliver. It didn't deliver in any way that anyone expected it. It delivered way and above and beyond anything that I think people were expecting, because they were looking at Bradley and thinking comedy and so on and so forth. But just the whole thing just gelled, really, I felt.
Well, I mean, you know, like Brad, when he actually had a really, you know, serious scene to sink his teeth into, like, you really showed the caliber of what actor he was. Like, you know, like a couple of bits that spring to mind, like his monologue, you know, when Grace dies at the end of that first episode, or in the Demons of Punjab, like, you know, the speech he gives to you know, before he's about to get married, like that, like he, you know, that really brought a tear to my eye on set, and that's rare that actually happens. You know, like when you're directing, you're just thinking about, like, is everything going right? And now and again, someone like hits you and stabs you, and I was like, bloody hell, that was like really powerful performance. You know, and when he actually had a proper scene, I mean, and obviously the light relief he brings to it as well. He's great at that. Like, that's just easy for him. But also a really, really talented drama actor.
Yeah, I'd actually worked with Brad on Law and Order. So what was interesting is when we went to the read through, like, he saw me and I obviously saw him, and he was like, "We've worked together," and I was like, "Yeah." We did, because I did like the third episode when Law and Order first started, sort of all those years ago. So yeah, it was nice to actually work with him again. And obviously, Law and Order, it was, you know, he had a very, very sort of a character that he'd really put some detail into, really thought about, really, and it showed you how much, you know, Brad's an actor. He is an actor. Even when he's presenting, he's an actor. Do you know what I mean? Like he thinks that way. So it weren't a surprise, I don't think, to anyone who knows him and knows what he's capable of and how he is of the work that he's capable of delivering. Because actually, he's always been that. Do you know what I mean? So. And I know how much he enjoys being able to go through the colour palette, as it were, and show everyone what he's actually capable of, because a lot of people will just instinctively think he's maybe a bit of, does one thing, as it were, or is good at one thing. But I think he's one of these people that really enjoys being able to pull the rug from under people a little bit.
And it can't all have been plain sailing on set filming. There must have been a couple of mishaps. Any funny stories to tell?
God.
I mean, there's always like little anecdotes and here and there. Like, no, Sam, you'll probably think of more that springs to your mind. I don't know. But like.
No, go on. You go first, Jay.
No. I was trying to think. I'm like trying to even. It's so funny. Even recalling that first episode in my mind, it feels like literally a dream. The whole thing, like a night shoot for. I mean, I just remember. To be quite honest with you, even like the first time like working with Sam, and like you said earlier, Sam, we didn't actually get a lot of time to do much prep beforehand. So, although you had your costume fittings and stuff like that, we didn't really massively get a chance to discuss character and things like that. I always remember though, like on set, doing your voice, like absolutely solid, like Tim Shah's voice, like super deep, like, amazingly powerful thing. And then as soon as we stopped, it's like cut. And then I call you, like, right, Jay, I was thinking, mate, what about if you was like bowling along like this? It was brilliant to hear that voice come out of Tim Shah's costume. I was like, I knew we should have the deep voice, like this is Tim Shah. I'm like, no, let's just use Sam's real voice, I reckon.
Well, that's funny, because that is still to this day. That's firstly, no one ever believes that I'm doing the voice. I have to literally say, when people go, who does the voice? I go, I do the voice. But everyone listens to me and just will assume that I am not doing it.
It's Giselle Jones. Just admit it.
But then, I remember Jodie literally used to get me to record voice notes for her as Tim Shaw, but then immediately break into my own voice afterwards so that everyone could hear the difference. And she would literally go around showing everyone like the different what Tim Shaw actually sounds like. So I used to have that a lot. I'll tell you some of the funny stuff is so I had the guys that worked with me on the show for the costume who were through Millennium, Charlie and Danny. They were incredible. I literally couldn't have done anything that I did without them. They were just unbelievable. And what was funny was the costume. One of the things we learned about the costume was that as the day went on, because it was quite heavy, the costume would slip a lot. So it would like the whole thing would start to weigh down, and I'd get a huge amount of pressure and weight on my traps and on my head. And the only way to cure this was for Charlie and Danny to stand either side of me and give me a ginormous wedgie every half an hour to lift the costume all the way up to alleviate the pressure on my traps and head. So literally every half hour when we cut, I would literally go, I need a wedgie. And literally they'd be coming over, lifting me up. I'd have like Lucozade drinks and protein shakes they'd be feeding into me to try and keep me energy levels up. And so no, it was, there were lots of back and forwards like that. But I'm trying to think of some other really...
and then there's just your codpiece in general, Sam. Got so much attention. It's like I almost think it started demanding its own star trailer at one point. It was just like I think it got more paparazzi attention than anything else.
Do you remember we were doing some shots and I was getting lunges in on shots to try and show the codpiece off? Like I was doing some lunges every now and then. Because that's an ongoing thing of mine throughout my career. I always like to try and get a lunge into anything I do. And with the cod piece, it just made it even more beautiful.
Nobody needs to see that again. I mean, you need to see it. It's got to be seen.
Yeah.
So how much of a gap was there between filming the one, filming the second part? So there would have been, obviously in transmission order, they're opposite ends of the scale. Were they in the same block? Were they what was the time stream between them?
I think I finished. Jamie, be able to correct me if I'm wrong here, but as far as I finished in like, I think it wasn't it like December, Jane? Wasn't it? We finished early December, and then I think I didn't come back till summer.
Yeah. No, they were pretty much kept in order actually. Just because Chris was right in order, and normally, and I think that was obviously the benefit also of having me direct the blocks, because then I could be like around for everything. You know what I mean? And that so, because obviously if you have a director on, then you obviously have to shoot all your block out in one go, and I think Chris didn't want that. He needed the sort of time to progress the story and stuff, and because the writing process continues obviously through shooting and all that. So no, we did it kind of in order. I don't fully remember, like off the top of my head, I can't remember the full schedule, just because it seems like I said, the whole thing seems like a dream now. But yeah, it was definitely towards the back end that we did it.
Yeah, I remember, because I remember the extreme difference in the temperature. Because obviously in the winter when we filmed the first episode, I was laughing at everyone, because we're doing night shoots, 2 a.m. Everyone is literally freezing, and there's me sweating. Like literally, I was loving life. I was nice and warm and loving it. The only thing that was really frustrating was my nose and my eyes didn't realise how warm the rest of my body was, because they were exposed to the cold. So everything else was really warm, and yet I used to have to walk around set with 2 tissues stuffed up my nose and cotton buds to dab my eyes, because they still felt the cold. Whereas so I couldn't blow my nose, obviously, because I had the prosthetic on. But then in the summer, the heat was crazy in there. So that was I remember that being the real difference.
Yeah, actually, now I think about it, I'm like thinking of shooting in that power station during the summer, and like going out, and it was so hot in there, and everyone was like boiling hot, and then Sam's in like, literally like a thermal uniform. Basically, you could go to Mars and be fine in.
And by then, obviously, the costume had a lot more added to it. So we had like capes and gowns and all sorts. So it was even heavier. And actually, the second episode, which was funny, the first episode, they had warned me that my skin might struggle a little bit with the prosthetic at first, especially seeing as I don't really do that stuff. I usually don't, not wearing that sort of stuff. So they said you might find it's a little bit delicate. And actually, in the first episode, it wasn't too bad at all, actually. And I think that was a lot to do with the temperature. The second episode, in the end, in the summer, my face, do you remember, Jamie, that I had massive reaction, and we had to change the schedule to work it so that all of my stuff could get filmed in succession on days that I was in and had the full get up on, because having me in and then having me sit for a while to the side when I was fully prosthetic up was obviously meaning I was in costume for a lot longer, and the face was obviously getting more and more irritated. And I remember that Jodie going, look, absolutely, I've got no problem with just when Sam's in, let's just, if we can, let's just shoot his stuff in one hit, and then when we turn around, obviously, he can take all the stuff off.
And the thing that would have been very noticeable for you then, seeing as they were quite far apart, was how would things change from the development? Obviously, the first time you worked with them, it was a new crew. By this point, you've done a whole season of filming. Did it feel different on set coming back?
For me personally, I suppose, for me, because obviously I was at the beginning and then at the end, whereas Jamie had done a lot more through the series. So do you know what? When I turned up on set, it was literally like it was like I'd been away for the weekend. Like, it was crazy. And that's what I mean about the uniqueness of this entity, this thing that's been created there by the people that run it and the people that work on it. Once you're part of it, you're part of it forever. Like, you're one of them then, and especially if you've been, I love having a laugh with the crew and everything, and wherever I work, I try and do that, because at the end of the day as well, you want people to have enjoyed working with you. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's no good if you go on set and people go, when you finish, people go, God, thank God he's gone. Like, do you know what I mean? You ain't gonna last very long if that's the way people are feeling when you sort of leave a job. So I always love to get to know everyone, to try to become quite friendly with everyone, to sort of get to, literally, so that when you come back, you know everyone's names. You got details of everyone. You're literally picking up from where you left off. You may have even been in touch with people during the interim that you weren't there. So when I came back, I didn't really notice any difference because everyone was as good as they were when they were first there. The camaraderie was the same as it was. Obviously, it was better in many ways than it was when I was last there. And actually, it was beautiful to come back and be welcomed back by everyone. When, for me, I suppose when I was there, it only felt like 5 minutes. And for them, they'd been working on it for, you know, however many months at that point. So, no, I didn't notice any specific difference. That's a testament. That's a testament, though, to the way the show is run and the way the show is worked and the way that everyone on the show works with people that come on. Like that's a testament to it. And it was massively beneficial to be able to work with the same director again. Like that was a godsend. Like I remember actually saying to Jamie when we were out for a drink after shooting one day or night, and I said to him, this was before I knew that I was coming back for the last episode. I didn't know that at first. I didn't know to what extent the character arc was going to be, because obviously it's always evolving and potentially changing. So I didn't know loads of details. And when Jamie said, yeah, you know, I think it looks like it's going to be potentially that it could be coming back for the last step, and I was like, brilliant. And he's like, I said, are you directing? He was like, yeah, of course. And I was like, yes, get in, like, yes. So it was like massive to know that was coming was a beautiful thing, and it gave me something to really be thinking about and focusing on and working on. Like, because I knew I was coming back, I could try and work on the things that I thought I maybe didn't achieve in the first time around that I'd like to achieve. Think about some other elements. Think about how the character might have changed as well. Like even before I got the script, like how the character might have shifted. Create my own little backstory, even if it weren't relevant. Like even if it wasn't something that was actually used at the end, to have my own thought process of what the character had been through while he was away was really interesting. So I could bring that to set. You know, I like Jamie says, I like to come to work and not have to figure stuff out when I'm at work. I like to have figured it out. And when I get to work, I want to work. Mm-hmm. Because actually what I want as much time as possible to do as many takes as possible to give the director and the editor and the production team as many options as they can have to piece together a performance. I don't want to come on set and waste time, you know, going, what do you reckon about this? Should I be doing it like this? But we have those conversations, but we have those conversations born out of we've already done the work. You know, then it's about moving it forward every shot, you know?
And how did you see it developing, Jamie, over the 4 episodes that you directed?
Do you mean like just the show, the crew, like that sort of?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, I was the odd one out in the sense that like a lot of these people have already worked together. Like a lot of the crew are the same people who've been doing the show before I came on, and I've been really lucky, you know, like with the shows that I've done, and especially Doctor Who, where you can tell everybody feels like I mean, it sounds cliche because people say this all the time, but they did actually seem like a family, like they knew each other so well. And that, like, but also in the sense that they're like, the thing about the Cardiff film industry and the Welsh film industry is actually like those people have worked together for years, and you know, and it's very different to say when I've done shows in London and your crew can come from all over the place, or they can come from different parts of London. They don't really know each other. You know, the odd person will know each other or whatever. It's a different. Not that I'm saying the crews have been bad when I've worked in London, but it's a different dynamic. It's like, you know, no one goes for a drink together after work because everyone lives at like different sides of London. Just getting back home is going to take you like 3 hours after a shoot there. Whereas, you know, people in Cardiff, like you know, they'll go and get food together at the end of the day and go down to Cardiff Bay or something like that. And, you know, these people have known each other growing up. So that is completely different. And because of that also, nobody wants to let anyone down. Like, you don't want to be the guy who turns up and does something and then, like, you know exactly who to point the finger at. And with me, they were like super welcoming, man. Like, you know, they were just really nice, friendly crew all the time. You know, I'd always make sure, like Sam was saying, like I learn everyone's name straight away. Like, you know, make sure you know everybody's role. Like, make sure that's just the way that I direct. Like, I'm not very insular in that way. I don't just like go off and do my own thing. It's like I collaborate with everybody because everybody's got great ideas and everybody's been there longer than I have. So they can take out some of the hoops I need to jump through. So, you know, so right from the start, it was good. If anything, it was me that was figuring out how to blend into that and work. And obviously once you get in the, you know, and the thing is, crews over a short period of time, like, become symbiotic. They start to know what you're going to say next. They start to know what sort of shot you're probably going to want. Like, you know, Mark, who is the camera operator, I love him and he's amazing. And like, you know, he actually had such a similar style to what I like and stuff like that. And he, you know, he knows straight away what lens I want to put on. He's like, you're going to do every 50 mil. I'm like, yeah, okay. He knows. I'm like, Mark, why don't you just do my job? I'll just forget about it. I'll just go back to the trailer. So yeah, over that period of time, it's just like, you know, people, it did be, and the thing is, nobody was like, oh, we're knackered by the end. They were just like getting on with it, the same as, you know, the same energy from the start to the end, basically.
The two of you sound like you had a real blast working together, which is great to hear.
Yeah, totally, man.
Time's pretty much defeated us, I'm afraid. It's been lovely chatting to you both. It's been good reminiscing back on the story. We could have talked for a lot longer, I'm sure, but unfortunately, time has beaten us. Lovely to chat to you both. Thanks very much for spending some time with us today.
Thank you, mate.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.